Hello, this is Tomas Matuszak in Dwan's Cop 401 with the short and long on scanning. Alright, so what is scanning? Well, scanning is a little bit like a function when you think about it. So you have input, and you put that input into a function, and that function does something to that input and spits out output, which is what you want. Except we don't call it input, we call it an input stream. So here's an example of an input stream. It is the string lol space what. And we put that string into a scanning algorithm. And what that scanning algorithm does is it goes through that input stream and then picks out the pieces that we want from that input stream and gives you an output stream of only the stuff that you want from the input stream. So, for example, let's say that we only want words that start with the letter L. Our scanning algorithm looks at this input stream of lol what, finds the words that start with L, so lol starts with L, and it gives you a token stream which only contains the word lol and nothing else. So let's look a little more in depth here. We have an input stream of John space F period space Kennedy. And our goal is to create an algorithm, to create a computer program that returns only capital letters from that input stream. Well, first of all, how does the algorithm deal with the stream? We've given it a string, and how is it supposed to look at that string? How is it supposed to analyze that string to find those capital letters? And the answer is to break it into smaller parts. Break it into its constituent pieces, break it into its individual characters, its individual letters, and go through them one by one and see which ones are capital letters and which ones are not. So here we go. We've taken that monolithic string and broken it down into its individual characters. So the way we're going to go about analyzing this string is we're going to go through each letter, check if it's a capital letter, and if it is a capital letter, we're going to add it to an array list called result tokens. So here we go. There's our array list of result tokens. It's empty right now. So we start off with the first letter. We start off with the first character, which is J. And we see, is that a capital letter? Yes, it is. Let's add it to the result tokens. Now to the next one, is O a capital letter? No, it's not. And so we don't add that to the result tokens list. And we go through each one of these. We see if they're capital and if they're not. And then if they are, we add them to the result tokens list, etc., 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 until we get to the end of the list of characters. And then we're done. That's it. We have our results tokens list. We have scanned the string for capital letters. Now for this example, we had just individual characters. The tokens that we got out were individual characters, and they just happened to be capital letters. Now, what about if we want to get entire words or entire conglomerations of characters or different combinations of characters? Let's go through an example of how to do that. So here we go. In this example, we have to get full words. We have to get entire words from this input stream. It's a little more complicated than the previous question. So first off, how do you determine if you're beginning to read a word or not? Well, here's an example. You can say if this character is a capital letter, And if the next character is a lowercase letter, then add this letter and the following letters until you reach a space, and then you stop. I definitely need an example here. Okay, so we start off with J. So we say, okay, we have J. What's the next character? The next character is O. Okay, so we have J and we have O. So it's a capital letter followed by a lowercase letter. That's a new word. Let's start the process of creating that new word. Let's start the process of determining what that new word is. So I'm going to create a temporary array list called new word, and that's going to contain all of the characters of that word. So I'm going to keep adding characters to that list until I reach something that tells me to stop adding. So in this case, it's going to be a space character. We're going to know that it's the end of the word when we run into a space character. So we're going until stop. We reach the space character. That's the end of the line. We now have to do something with that list of characters that represents the word that we found. So we want to return full words. So we don't want to give our result tokens a bunch of characters. We want to give it a whole entire word. We want to give it a string. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to convert this list of characters, I should say, into a string. So we're going to convert this list of characters. We're going to convert our token into a string. And so the way we do that is we're going to append each of the characters to this temporary string called a string. And we're going to keep on appending each one of the characters onto that string until we finally get the entire word that we're looking for. And then we're going to add this string to our result tokens. That's the end result, is John. So we add the string to our result tokens, and that is our first token. That's the first token that we have found in our input stream, is John. And by the time we get to the end of this input, we find the other one, which is Kennedy. And so we don't find the F period because it's a capital letter followed by a period and not by a lowercase letter. So there we go. We have our two tokens from this input stream. We have John and we have Kennedy. So for this example, I said that the beginning of the word we said was a capital letter followed by a lowercase letter. But that whole beginning marker can be it can be anything. It can be a quote mark, it could be a space, it could be a period, it could be a bracket, whatever you can think of, you can decide whether that's the beginning of the token. And the same thing goes for the end of the token. Anything can be the end of the token. You just have to tell the computer what. And strings aren't the only thing that you can scan. You can scan radio waves, you can scan text, you can scan images, etc., etc. You can scan anything you want as long as you break it down into its constituent components and go through it in a systematic way that you can find what you're looking for, find the pattern that you're looking for, find the tokens that you're looking for. That's what scanning is all about, is going through it and finding the tokens. Up next is class dual role. Stay tuned for the short or the long on that.